This is the third session in a three-part introductory IPP course entitled Achieving Inner Stillness in Support of Optimal Life and Work. In the first session, we explored really identifying and working with the stillness that's already within us. It's this great paradox that we are grounded in our awareness that's always there in this stillness. And it's essentially getting used to practicing being aware of that inner stillness that's already there, being aware of that awareness, being aware of that deep stillness within. And the way to practice that most effectively is to be aware of the different dimensions of ourselves, be aware of our physical self in the moment. And another marker of that awareness is you're in the moment, because awareness isn't projecting about the future or remembering about the past. It's just present and aware of what's arising in this moment. And as we mentioned, one of the real exercises to help people who are even profoundly disturbed mentally or in very intense, stressful situations, such as people who are incarcerated, is just to touch your arm, say, for instance, or your thigh, just to bring you to the present moment, to get you out of a frenzy of feedback loops or whatever that dynamic is of whatever you're afraid of, what's tormenting you, feedback loops from the past. When you're present, all of that sort of settles down, and so the practice, and all of this is grounded in practice. You just can't talk about it or understand it. You have to practice it. And so the practice is being aware of your physical self, of how you're feeling in your body, just noticing yourself physically. And be aware of your emotions. Now, oftentimes we're very emotional and our emotions have us, but if we're aware of emotions, they don't have us. We are holding them. And when we can hold them and come from a deeper place of stillness, that's a wonderfully profound thing. It helps us settle into a deeper place. And perhaps the most challenging thing is to be aware of your own thoughts, because the tendency is when we live in our thoughts and live in our mind substantially, we think that is who we are. We are our thoughts. And in a sense, that's true. But from a deeper place, there's a deeper place of self beyond our thoughts, beyond our own ego dynamics, is a place of just stillness and quietness. And so quite often this is referred to as witnessing awareness. Just practice witnessing your own thoughts, being aware of your own thoughts, stepping back from them, being aware of your own emotions, being aware of your own physical sensibilities. And this awareness can be outside of yourself as well. But the point is, in this introductory approach, is just simply get used to that dimension of yourself and get stabilized in it. Get stabilized in being aware of your own awareness. It doesn't sound like much, but it's very profound. It's not that difficult to do if you practice it, because you can be, you're aware all of the time. You just have to be aware that you're aware all of the time and bring that fully to consciousness. The second session was being open to stillness and inspiration in the midst of the activities of life and work. And so the the central quality that we worked with in that second session was working with the stimulus response dynamic that we are involved in all of the time when we're awake. And it isn't just stimulus and then we respond to it. So I tend to call it in and out, because sometimes the out is first, sometimes the in is first, but they interact, and there's sort of a feedback loop going on all of the times in both directions. And when we're caught up in that, we can function perhaps very adequately, but we tend to be relying on habits that we've developed, emotional reactions that we might have, first reactions to people mentally, in terms of trying to respond with a counter argument before you're really even listening. But the point of that second session was to practice interrupting that constant feedback loop. And first is pausing just for a moment to just sort of notice what's going on in that regard. And that's called metacognition, where we pause for a moment and can more freely choose and more freely determine what it is we want to do in that situation. And developing that quality of metacognition is beautiful and important. It frankly is necessary to function as a highly responsible person, as a highly responsible adult, so that you're not just caught in reacting to everything and not being open and considering what you should do to go, to do next in life. But there's a deeper place of that in being truly open, is being open to that awareness. And so just pausing for a moment, and in that openness, you're open to a deeper place of inspiration that informs even your metacognition. If your metacognition can just be still just for a moment, pause for just a moment, you can be present, aware of what's happening, and more intuitive in the moment. And so we talked about the practices of several practices of how to do that. And then the main point of this final session is just getting ourselves grounded in stillness in our physical bodies. And this is where most meditation training starts. And it's a lot about taking some time to settle in and feel into your body, feel into your breath. But particularly for those people who aren't meditation oriented, I like to start at the very top. Hey, I'm aware. I can be aware of things. I can source a deeper place if I can just pause this feedback loop. But ultimately, you do have to create a quality of grounded stillness in your body, and one can do that the best by, at least most people can, and all the great meditation traditions are aligned with this. It's just to relax into your own breathing. And so let's just do that for a moment. Just maybe breathe a few deep breaths just to cleanse a little bit. Then just relax in your breathing. Allow that sense of relaxation just to move through your whole body. Just as you feel your chest, your whole diaphragm expanding and then contracting. Think of how that relaxation can move into your shoulders, into your neck, and up into your head. into your limbs, into your hips and down into your legs. Just spend a few moments right now, just relaxing, grounded in relaxed breathing. Now, another thing that you need to take into consideration if you're going to make a practice of this is posture. You can do this while off balance or slumped or curled up on the couch or whatnot, but to settle in for more than just a minute or two, it's important to have an awareness of your posture. And the most classic approach to this is to have a straight spine, totally relaxed shoulders, relaxed neck, relaxed body. But just have a posture of having a straight spine. It's sort of a posture of alertness. And when you're having a prayerful communing relationship, that's a different matter. And the posture of submission is really important. But just for practicing, developing a quality of stillness and developing a good container to hold stillness within you. Doesn't mean you have to have your legs crossed on a mat, and you can do all sorts of things. You can just be sitting in a chair or on the floor or on a couch. You can be leaning back a little bit, but for optimal awareness and for sustainability beyond just a minute or two, it's helpful to have a straight spine, and otherwise be very relaxed. Sometimes when we sit up straight, you start to tense up and you hold your shoulders up. So allow your shoulders to drop and just be still. And another thing that's foundational in just basic training of a meditation practice that's grounded in breathing is just to focus on your breath. And that also helps you focus your awareness, get used to being able to focus on something that maybe isn't entirely stimulating, like reading a good book or focusing at work on what you have to do or being in a riveting conversation, is learning to be from just a very calm and relaxed place, to focus on your breath, to train yourself to be able to focus wherever you want to focus and focus on your breath. And one of the ways to do that is just see how many breaths you can have a focus on before your mind begins to wander. And so let's just do that right now. Just count how many breaths before your mind wanders a little bit. But then when it wanders and you notice it wanders, just bring it back and start counting again. It would really be unusual if you could get to 10, count to 10. Sometimes you want to count, one count is the whole breath, sometimes it's the one is the in breath, two is the out breath, etc. It's really unusual for somebody to get to 10. Most people start by getting to 2 or 3 and they find their minds wandering a little bit. So just be gentle with yourself, and it isn't a failure. It's just noticing when your mind wanders, and bring your focus back to breathing. And it's really an important practice to develop a quality of inner stillness and a calmness, to practice learning how to be comfortable and resting in your body, and allow your mind just to be present to your breathing. There's another aspect of this that's really important. And sometimes you can receive lots of meditation training and practice a lot, and you still can't quite seem to settle in. You can't find that deep inner stillness. And so one of the key things here is to develop an attitude, very foundational attitude of acceptance. Now, particularly to the Western mind, that seems kind of foreign. I mean, life is all about not accepting things and working on things and trying to make a difference, or well, maybe I can't change some things, but some things I can, so I'm going to be focused on that. Change things outside of me, change things inside of me. But what this is really all about, what this most foundational meditative quality of acceptance is, not being in denial. It's accepting what reality is and saying yes to that. Okay, this is what the situation is, and I accept that's what it is. And if you can't get into a restful place in that regard, and have a practice that you can really say, okay, I accept this. This is my life. This is my situation. Unless you can do that, you can never get to this deep place of inner stillness and inner calm. Now, the important thing to realize, and part of the practice, is to say 2 yeses. To say yes to, I completely accept this situation, and being very present in this moment. I can see more clearly than I otherwise could what's actually happening. And because I can accept this moment and I'm present and I can see more clearly what's happening, I then know more clearly what it is that I want to do next, from my deepest place of inspiration, from my deepest wisdom and my deepest compassion. And the shorthand for that is, what's the most compassionate thing that I can do? What's the most loving thing that I can do for myself and for others? Because that's the quality that comes from being open to your deepest place of awareness and intuition. And so let's just close our eyes for a moment and think about all of the things that you wish were different right now. Just maybe a few of the things. And just say, I can best do something about it if I can accept this moment right now. Not be in denial. Move into this deeply counterintuitive place, saying, you know what, it's okay. This is what I've been given. Maybe even this is what I've created for myself, but it is what it is. And I accept that. And then from this place of acceptance, practice breathing in a deep, relaxed way. So it's essentially learning to have an attitude. It's kind of counterintuitive for most of us, particularly from a Western culture. But it's so foundational to be able to develop an inner calm that supports and sustains everything else, that enables you to reach that still center from your most foundational place. And so be sure that you make a practice of practicing that attitude of that deep quality of acceptance. Then another aspect of this quality of being deeply physically relaxed and in this moment, I'm physically relaxed, I'm breathing in a relaxed way, I'm accepting in this moment, is to feel not only a physical relaxation, but a mental and emotional calm, and then a deep tranquility. Deep tranquility. That tranquility is awareness itself. It's that spiritual dimension that's just always there if we're open to it. Peacefulness and tranquility, serenity. And so in a way we have our physical body that we're relaxing. In a way we have a mental and emotional body that we're relaxing. And we have a spiritual body that we're relaxing. So let's just practice in this moment, being relaxed in our breathing, relaxed in our body, bringing forward a sense of mental and emotional calm, no matter what else is going on in this moment. I'm practicing being calm, practicing being tranquil. And so in a way, in the previous two sessions, we were doing kind of a descending practice. We were descending from an awareness of our ego dynamics, of our mind, of our emotions, of our physical self. We were creating an opening so that that awareness could flow through us. We could be open to our deepest inspirations. And this practice that we're introducing right now is an ascending stillness practice. I call it an ascending still point practice. We, in this moment, let us just be relaxed in this moment. Let our mental and emotional body be calm. Let our spiritual body be tranquil. Let us simply be open and hold that openness. That openness in the midst of the stimulus response cycle, the in and out cycle. And let us just simply be awake in this moment. The essence of that open focus dynamic when they come together in stillness, we're just simply awake. So it's a beautiful practice to begin the day, is to have a deep relaxation in your body, a mental and emotional calmness, an inner stillness and tranquility, an openness, you might say an openness to the spirit, an openness to awareness. And then just be in that place of awareness. This way, we're, in a sense, preparing a container. We're preparing our physical container, our mental and emotional container, and the container, you might say, of our spiritual body, of our awareness body, so that pure awareness and that deeper inspiration and that deep utter stillness can descend, and we can be filled with that, and we can be so full of that we are essentially empty, and we are allowing that beauty to move into us. And so essentially we're talking about three qualities of practice. The basic relaxing and settling in is kind of a horizontal practice. We're just relaxing. We're being accepting in this moment. We're maybe just practicing a little bit, paying attention to our breathing, focusing on our breathing. And learning to return to our breathing, being relaxed in that, developing your discipline over a period of time. In a body that's relaxed but alert, and your posture, proper posture enables you to be alert in this way. This horizontal practice of just being relaxed, just being awake and alert in this moment. Just being grounded in our breathing. And then allow yourself to just be open to a vertical ascending practice of feeling a deep relaxation in your mental and emotional body, which is being deeply calm, then deeply tranquil, and very open in this moment. And then very aware and awake. And just as in the physical practice, this first physical practice, it's important to have an attitude of acceptance. As you create this being open, you need to cultivate a quality, as we've talked about before, of humility and even wonder, getting your ego and your thoughts out of the way, just being open to the deepest within us. And then when we're awake, we also need to be conscious of being present. It's the same thing. But again, it's an attitude. So we're being accepting, we're being humble, and we're being present, which supports us in being relaxed and calm and tranquil and open and awake. Relaxing, doing some basic relaxation and breathing practices. Good posture, relaxed posture, awake posture. Relaxed, calm, tranquil, open, awake, and allowing that awakeness and awareness to descend to that quality of pausing in that stimulus response, to a quality of being aware of our body. And so in summary, we're talking about a quality of a horizontal practice, learning how to be relaxed, learning how to be calm, learning how to breathe, just be focused, and training your focus. And just creating a ground for your practice, a deep stillness that's the foundation that you find in your very physical body. It's having an ascending practice of moving into that stillness, into your emotions in your mind, that deep relaxation of calm, and then a quality of deep tranquility, and just being open in the moment, and just being awake. And if you have, at least for myself, if I am in a hurry and I don't have time to do much practice, I try to do a little ascending still point practice. And there are other still points along the way that are very foundational. But that settles one in. It supports everything else, all the other dynamics. If you can be deeply relaxed, if you can be calm, if you can be tranquil, if you can be open, if you can be awake, what a great way to start the day. It opens you to being, allowing your awareness to penetrate down into all of the dynamics of yourself, to bring that deeper inspiration there. And so that concludes our three-part introduction. And hopefully this is helpful, and we'll lay a groundwork for some practices that you can design for yourselves. And it gives you a sense of these qualities of polarities, the breath, the expansion and contraction, the in and the out, the open and the focus, and how you find stillness within it, how you find a horizontal practice, a vertical practice, and a descending practice, to really begin centering yourself, calming yourself, learning how to access that deep inner stillness, that still point that we can find in the full spectrum of our beings, and it allows us to be more present and inspired, and more fully functional in doing the things that we would want to do in the ways that we would want to do them. So appreciate being with you for these 3 sessions.